Greetings and welcome. I am Joffrey, and today I want to discuss something interesting that I've been noticing the more I've watched more of Generalist Gaming's videos about EU5, because it appears that for two games in a row now, he seems to really like this strategy called the Superhighway. You see, control, of course, emanating control from your capital is one of, if not the most crucial aspects of the game to keeping your empire actually functioning effectively. And one of the funny ways that you can increase it more effectively earlier in the game is with these pound lock canal buildings that he's discussed now in his Korea video and his Mali one. This building, which you unlock in the Age of Renaissance, he seems to always want to rush researching it, because even though you can only build it in cities, it has multiple tiers. I believe it goes up to 5 levels? I'm not certain exactly how big it can get, but the point is you can stack this building, and it can only be built in cities. There is the key problem, though. But when you make it, first of all, it gives you more laborers, which are, they're nice to have, as opposed to peasants, as far as I understand it. But the distance to capital cost, which you can, again, the more you upgrade it, the higher this bonus gets. And the food production's probably nice too, but I don't know enough to get a handle on how much 5% extra food production is. But closing that, at the start of the game, Mali starts, I believe this was his game start screenshot, and of what, it's either at game start, this is what it looks like, or after just a little bit of tweaking, where this is what his town's map looks like. I believe the green is city. I'm not certain though, because he a couple different times called these two spots cities, but I assume they're towns, but then he also called them towns. It would be a little strange if these were proper cities. But the point is, he builds more and more towns in this line, where just like in the Korea game, where he built them along rivers in a crisscross formation across Korea to help him reach the other sides of the highland terrain, he uses it here because Mali is such a vast land. It's very hard for him to get control to the coast, where around Jollof, I believe it's called, the subject, their lands are the most high population capacity lands in the empire, and they're on the coast, so it's very effective for starting a global empire, just as they are in EU4, funnily enough. So to that end, you build all these towns, which eventually you want to upgrade to cities, because that will allow you to build the canals in them and level them up a lot of times to get some very disproportionately good distance to capital bonuses. But normally that wouldn't be such a crazy thing if you just have these isolated cities. And that's where the strategy specifically comes in of, by the end of his video, you see the game starts in 1337, but by 1346, so it's only a decade into the game, he's taken his capital. So yeah, the green is a city. I don't know why there's a city down here though, which is with no towns. It's curious. But the point is, he has built all these towns around his capital because that's where the best control is, of course. But along this river, he's building this large line that leads to the coast, where he has one tile that he's converted to be his majority culture, so it's a core, and he's going to continue just trying to culturally convert and accept cultures in this line as well to increase the control. So you have, as a result of that, this long line of cities. They're not cities yet, but eventually they will be all these cities. So it's where most of your population will be, and it will also be high control, and it will emanate that better control to the rest of the lands near it. And that's also what's being started with up here, where he is able to start doing a similar thing up towards Songhai. Though he built these two towns specifically because those are on farmland terrain, so you can have a higher population capacity that way. But through this, he is able to get better control over all of the various gold provinces, but most keenly it is to reach the coast, because this area is going to be very difficult to get good control on otherwise. Now the question becomes, how do you actually get all the population to these locations that is required? Now, for most countries, that wouldn't be so easy, because to actually move your population around, you'd need to constantly do your migration attraction edicts, I say, minister actions, or alternatively, you can, in combination with expelling pops from another place if you really want to speed up the process in one specific spot. But that takes a valuable time of your ministers, and you want those to be culturally converting in a lot of times when you're a large country that needs this strategy. So for him, Mali happens to be a country that is very good with slavery, and as a result of that, he is able to build these pens, slave markets, in the various towns that he's trying to build up. And doing that will mean that whenever he gets more slave pops, those pops will be moved to those lands. Now, I think most people, most countries on the map that do slavery, they will over time convert pops that aren't your religion into slaves. However, Mali has a privilege, I believe, at Game Start, where they not only avoid trying to convert pops most of the time to their religion, but they also can't enslave them, I think, through that normal feature. I don't remember exactly how that works, as it was an old Tinto talk, but that's not the important factor here. The important factor here is that you build those buildings, and that is what causes... there's a nice fire going on outside. It smells really nice. Waft that in. Building those pens mean that whenever he's declaring wars against these eastern folks that he is trying to turn into vassals, which is what the red line here means, whenever he vassalizes them and does all these fights, he will capture people in battle and has the option to press the enslave, which will bring those pops to these different markets and just build up the population of those centers better. Which means that he will be more quickly able to reach that population capacity that is required to build a city, because I believe you need 5,000 people to make something into a town, and at least 25,000 to make it in a city? I'm not quite certain, but now I'm rambling on. This was meant to be a short video about the Pound Lock Canal. So, thank you all for watching. Hopefully my ramblings gave some context that was appreciated by you folks. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.